Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/book versus movie. There are over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Thanks so much.
Hello, excuse me. I am looking for a ham, a hickory honey ham.
If there are any left, they'll be back there.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Excuse me. Happy holidays. Can I buy your ham?
Pardon?
Your ham. You see, it's the last one. And my daughter Blair, see, she's coming home all the way from Peru, and hickory honey hams are her absolute favorite. And I'd like to buy it from you.
No, it's not for sale.
But she's in the Peace Corps, and I'd be willing to pay anything above sticker price.
No, we're not.
You know, it's never too early to start thinking about putting away a little something for your child's college education. Merry Christmas!
Hello and happy holidays and welcome to Book versus Movie, a podcast where we read books that have been adapted into movies and then we try to decide which we like better, the book or the movie. I am Margo P. of coloniabook.com and this is my good friend and co-host Margo D. of Book and Fit Chick.
Hi, everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays!
Yeah.
It's raining here, which is making it seem a little more cozy and holiday-like. Do you have snow yet?
Yeah, we've had a little bit of snow. We've got a lot of cold. It's very chilly, which is perfect. And I don't know if you know this, Margo, but across the street from me, they sell Christmas trees. So I get to see people.
Yeah.
I get to see people all weekend long, like pick out their Christmas trees. It's the most fun thing ever. It's so joyful.
That's so nice. There's nothing like Christmas in New York. It's a very special thing.
It's very special. But from what I hear, also in San Francisco and on the West Coast, it's been raining a lot.
A lot. We've had quite a lot of rain, although it is not cold.
Yeah.
It feels cozy and nice, but I've been out running errands and I'm just wearing like a long sleeve shirt. It's fine.
Of course.
But we have for those of you who are new, during December, all through the month of December, we love to do holiday books and movies. We've had a lot of surprises, things that we didn't know were books. We've done some of the ones you would think, like A Christmas Carol. There's another one, I'm forgetting, I'm blanking, the Christmas
A Christmas
one
Story.
A Christmas Story, which everybody knows is from a book. But we've also had some that we didn't know were books until we did this podcast, like It's a Wonderful Life. And this is one of those movies as well that you and I did not know was a book. We are doing Christmas with the Kranks, which is based on a novel by John Grisham, of all people. But we'll get to that in a moment. Again, we've picked up a lot of new people over the holidays, and welcome. There are several ways that you can interact with us on the internet, and we want to make sure you know about all of them.
Right. So on social media, you can find us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Book versus Movie podcast. You just spell that all out. If you want to join our Facebook group, which is a great place to interact with fellow fans of the show and give us ideas for the show, you just type in the search engine for Facebook, Book vs Movie podcast group and ask to join, and then you can join us there. But it's Book versus a Movie on Twitter and Instagram. You just spell those out. If you want to send us an email, you can send us an email at bookversusmoviepodcast@gmail.com. And if you want stickers, please send us a message either of those ways, and we'll get some stickers out to you.
And I didn't check to see if this is an Audible book or not. I must admit, I was able to find the book so easily that I didn't even, I just read it. So is it available as an audiobook? Do you know?
It is. And I listened to it on Audible. It was very convenient for me because I had to run my own errands this week. And so I listened to it. It's only like 2.5 hours. It's a short story. It's not a bit long book. And we have a promotion with Audible. You just go to audibletrial.com/book versus movie, and you can get a free month to try out their service. And basically it's a subscription service, and every month you get an Audible book, an audiobook, and you create this virtual digital library. So I will have this book, and it's called Skipping Christmas by John Grisham, and I will have in this virtual library. And if I want to listen to it next year, it doesn't have to take up any space on my phone. You know what I mean? I could just, it's up in the cloud, and you download it when you need it. So once again, that's audibletrial.com/book versus movie.
And this would be a really fun book to have on in the background as you're baking and decorating and shopping. We'll get to it in just a minute. But, for those of you who are new, Margo and I have been doing this now for 5+ years. Mm-hmm. And as I said, every single December we do holiday books and movies. We never seem to run dry in our well of holiday books and movies. And every October we like to do, scary books and movies, and we have many, many episodes in our catalog. Now, all those books and movies means that, they're not that, we try to pick books and movies that are easy for people to get, but still, sometimes it's a few dollars here and there for a book or the movie, or sometimes both. And so we do have a Patreon nowadays.
We do have a Patreon, and we're finding out, like, for some people, it depends on the app that you have to listen to podcasts. Some of them don't go back very far with shows. They only go back maybe a couple of years. And like Margo said, we've been doing this for 5 years. So we started putting our oldest episodes behind a Patreon paywall. It's super affordable. We have a $1, a $3, and a $5 option. And we have a bunch of books and movies back there. We have A Christmas Story there. We have Auntie Mame there. We have, I believe, Godfather, Casino. We have amazing books and movies that we've covered in the past there. And if you just go to the page, and it's patreon.com/book versus movie, just tool around and check it out for yourself and see what we have there and see if you're interested. We'd love to, any money you could throw at us, we would be very appreciative of it. We have costs for hosting, for the website, and for the Libsyn and all that good stuff too, and social media and things like that. So if you feel like joining, we would love it. We've had a few of you guys do that, and we were so appreciative of that. And some of the episodes, by the way, at Patreon are free. We threw a few of them there just for you to check out, see if you're interested. So it's patreon.com. We're going to start putting the episodes from, I believe, 2017 and 2018 are going up there, and some really good shows are going there. So guys, please, if you're interested, come check us out. Patreon.com/book versus movie.
Now, getting to today's book and movie, I feel I would be remiss if I did not bring up that we did John Grisham some time ago.
Yes.
When we did The Firm. Mm-hmm. Which, spoiler alert, I hated.
I'm a little more forgiving of the film, and I had some decent memories of reading the book the first time around, but we had a lot of issues, returning to that book, and that's that's actually behind the Patreon wall. It's the old way we recorded things, so just be a little forgiving just to listen to the quality of the recording, but yeah. John Grisham is a really fascinating person. Should we just talk about him first?
Yes, let's do, because it's been a while.
Yeah, so John Grisham was born 1955. He's from Jonesboro, Arkansas. He went to Mississippi State. He went to Mississippi School of Law. He served in the House of Representatives between 1984 and 1990, and he made like $8,000 a year doing that. And in his downtime, he would practice law and write. Those were two things he would do. He's been married to his wife, Renee Jones, since 1981. And when he wrote his first novel, and his first novel was actually A Time to Kill. And that came out in a small press in 1989. And it did okay in the area, but he would get up at 4 a.m. to write. He's a very hard worker. And the fact is that a few years later, he had a book called The Firm, and it was a huge bestseller. It became a very popular film, 1993, starring Tom Cruise. Margo and I had problems with that. Like I said, I have more fondness for it. I like his movies from his books. So there's The Client, there's The Pelican Brief, The Rainmaker, there's a Runaway Jury. There's some really good, especially The Client, I think is really exceptional. I think there's some really good movies that come from his books. I think he has fun plots. So. Yeah.
I agree. And The Firm is always one on my list of examples when people always say to us, isn't the book always better than the movie? And we have a short list of movies that are better than the book, and The Firm is the list. The movie, I know you've got Gene Hackman, and there's some good things about the movie, and they don't dwell on what is my biggest problem with The Firm is how many chapters it takes for him to make up his mind whether he's going to join the firm, which is four chapters.
Right, I remember that.
While he's deciding. And it takes 4 chapters to decide to join the firm, and the book is called The Firm.
And it's called The Firm. And in the movie, they do that in the opening credits. That's what a great adaptation is. Yeah.
All it needs to be.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, the man has sold over 275 million copies of his books. He releases a book almost every year. It's always a bestseller. He's on the board of the directors for the Innocence Project. He opposes capital punishment, and he keeps pretty active on that front. And this is a book that came out in 2001. It's only, I think, 177 pages, maybe not even that much. But it was a bestseller.
It's quite short.
Yeah.
I am holding it in front of me. Yeah, it's 177 pages, but it's a small book. So if it were a normal size book, I think you'd be looking at like 125. It's quite short.
Okay. It's not a long, but once again, for Audible, it's not a long listen. And let's just get right into it. I knew nothing about skipping Christmas. And I know
Me either.
Margo, I had actually a hard time remembering the title. I kept wanting to say Killing Christmas because, Bill O'Reilly has all those killing books.
Yes.
He had a Killing
the War
Jesus.
On Christmas. I know. It's so strange.
Yeah.
It's like the analog version of clickbait. But yeah, it's funny. I also had trouble remembering it because I had to go get it at the library. And I kept forgetting the title of it. I had to keep looking it up over and over again. But it comes out in 2001. Mm-hmm. And if you've seen Christmas with the Kranks, it's a pretty true adaptation. I mean, the movie is a true adaptation of the book. Mm-hmm. But I have to say, because I had so many problems with The Firm, many of them, and he's a very prolific writer. And and that's the thing is when you have somebody that is this kind of like Stephen King. When we talk to Stephen King, when you have somebody who is obviously a very talented writer, but is also highly prolific, just cranking out the books at this dropping rate. It's not all going to be a masterpiece. So anyway, I really liked the writing of this story. I thought it was very well told, very well crafted. I really like the characters of.
Sorry, guys.
Great.
Okay, sorry, guys. Margo, we had a little interruption with the Skype here. So, Margo, you were just starting to say, so what were your overall impressions of the book?
I just loved it. I thought it was beautifully crafted. When we've a lot of the holiday stories, I have to say that we've done over the years have had this in common that they're just really nicely crafted. And you have these great characters, the main characters of Nora and Luther Krank. Their name is Krank in the book. And I really related to them right away. I thought they were really great. I really love the way that he developed like the little touches he gives you that indicate what kind of people they are, like how Luther is like calculating up what they spent. First of all, $6,000 on Christmas. We'll get to that. But it was really sweet, and they really, really love their daughter. And the book starts the same way the movie starts, where their daughter is going away. I think in the book she's going to Costa Rica anyway. The daughter's going away for the Peace Corps, and they're she's leaving home for the first time, and what a parent goes through, how difficult the separation is, and facing that. I just loved it. I thought it was terrific. I loved all the neighbors. It's such a fun book.
Oh my God, I didn't like it at all.
You didn't?
No, I didn't. I know oh my God, we've never had this happen. I know. I found Luther to be such
Hilarious.
I thought Luther was such an annoying character. He reminded me of like one of the people from Jaws. I found Luther to be very arrogant. I found him very arrogant. I didn't like the way he talked to his wife. I thought like her character wasn't as well developed. I liked Blair very much, and
Blair I like better in the book.
Yeah, she's much smarter,
for sure,
and she has a lot more agency over herself. I think it's clever, the idea of the story of like, sure, these people would want to go away. I mean, first of all, it's a universe where it's so important for everybody to be. Christmas is so important, and not because it's the birth of Christ and we're celebrating that. It's all just about the decorations and the shallow stuff. And
it's all the tribal stuff. It's really interesting. I saw it more as like, I know guys like Luther. I've met that. And he's a powerful CPA, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He's a financial guy, but and I think this comes across in the book. He's very emotionally stunted.
Yes.
And immature. You know, his only daughter his only child is leaving home for the very first time, and he just cannot even begin to deal with it. And yes, the way that he talks to his wife is very clumsy and macho, and I just feel like the way I read it was like he was it's a very emotional thing, your child leaving for the first, and he's so unable to deal with his feelings in any kind of a mature adult way that he's like, let's go, we're going on a cruise. And in the book, he very much dictates. He doesn't like say, hey, how would you like to go? He's like, we're going on this cruise.
Right.
And so that's how I read it, was that he's this old school, very emotionally underdeveloped macho guy.
Yeah, and
that's how he deals with this thing.
Yeah, and I get that, and I maybe because I listened to it and I didn't read it, but I mean, there's sometimes the way Luther talks to people and he rationalizes things. I'm just like, you are not the center of the universe. You know, you have a pretty damn great life, dude. I mean, what are you complaining about? He's so mad at like the going to the store, and the person that makes minimum wage has the nerve to call him by his first name, and he just complains about a lot of stuff.
Right? I know.
And so
yes.
I guess I got
got
annoyed with him.
Sorry.
I got annoyed with him. That's my problem.
Felt like that was on purpose. I felt like that was a window into this privileged middle class, that this world that they have created for themselves. And then all of that blows up in their face, like the moment they try to color outside of the lines a little bit.
Right. And it's weird to me, like the entire town is just so distraught, and like it's funny because it's just one of those things, like, wouldn't the people in the town kind of understand, like, maybe one Christmas let them go and do something different, because their only child is leaving for Peru for a year. You know, I
mean, and that's, again, getting back to Luther and how much of a caveman he is.
Right.
All he had to say was, listen, this is, my wife and I are really hurting right now, and we really can't deal with our daughter being gone. We just need to get away because this is just way too painful for us. Yeah. And people would have understood, but instead he's like, we're skipping Christmas.
Yeah.
And people are like, what? So I just thought it was very interesting. I just really found it fascinating. But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe because it's an audio versus in the book thing. Could be. Or, we could just see it in different ways.
Yeah, that could be it.
He's annoying. He is truly annoying.
Yeah.
But I feel sorry for him because he can't. First of all, he can't communicate to his daughter his feelings. He can't communicate to his wife his feelings. And he can't communicate. This is all because he's such a bad communicator.
Right.
The whole thing is a mess because this man cannot even begin to express a single human emotion in any kind of real way.
And yeah, exactly. And so I I just didn't like him very much. I liked his wife a little bit more, but there's times I wish she stood up for herself more. I just think they kind of also gotten into a routine with their marriage, which can totally happen. I get that. They've been together for 20 plus years. So I understand that. But all the stuff that they have in the movie, pretty much in the book, you know, they realized they were spending $6,000 on decorations and entertaining. And he's like, why don't we spend $3,000 and go on a trip for 10 days? And then, you know, she has to talk, like a lot of things, like she has to talk him into donating to the church and the children's hospital. But it's like stuff like that. But the neighborhood that he's in, everybody participates together to have the most fancy neighborhood Christmas displays. And so it's really upsetting that they don't have his Frosty, you know, on the roof, or that he's not buying a Christmas tree. Like nobody can understand why they're doing this. And it's a world where nobody wants to understand. Like it's just to them, they get just so upset about it. And then
I thought, and I guess, you know, I had certain things like that. I can relate to it a little bit, but I know there are places that are like that. And, but you know, nobody ever thinks like, wow, you know, it's probably really hard with their only child gone for Christmas, and they're such a Christmassy sort of a family. Maybe they should get nobody thinks that ever. And also like the charity thing, they just like in the movie, they get approached by the policemen, they get approached by the Boy Scouts, and it's a little different in the book, because in the book, the Boy Scouts or the police show up, and like the Boy Scouts show up and they're like, we're trying to raise money for the jamboree, and we're selling these Christmas trees, and the Kranks tell them, oh, we're not participating in Christmas this year, but I tell you what, come back in 3 months time and we're going to give you double what we would have paid to help you pay for your jamboree. And they're like, wah. And they go, and the same thing with the cops. The cops are like, you know, we're selling our calendar, which is what, you know, let's say it's $20.
Right.
And the Kranks in the book are like, well, we're not going to buy a calendar, but listen, if you come back in June, we'd be more than happy to give you, you know, it was like $100. And them too, they're like, just what?
It's bizarre. Yeah, nobody's understanding it all, and everybody likes Blair. So that's why I thought it was kind of weird that they felt that way. Well, so just like in the movie, in the book, you know, there's all these people giving them a hard time, and they're trying to get out of, you know, they want to skip Christmas, they want to get away, and of course, what happens? Blair falls in love, like as soon as she arrives in Peru, and she gets engaged, and then she and her fiance decide they're going to surprise her parents by just flying from Peru to Miami and then on to Chicago. I think that's where they live, and they're engaged. So she says to her parents, he's never been with he's never been in an environment where they said Christmas like we have. And I told him all about it. We're going to be there tonight. So I hope we're having a party. And so they have to like now depend on their neighbors to help them get this party together. And I like the fact that the neighbors do come together and everybody, you know, contributes, because everyone loves Blair. And that's why they do it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And again, if you've seen Christmas with the Kranks, it's very much that. It's funny. It's got funny moments. I really was surprised at how much I liked it. I was prepared to not like it very much, but I liked it very much. And I really like, because in the book, you get much more of what's going on in Luther and Nora's minds.
Yeah.
You know, and even Luther's like inner dialogue is very emotionally immature, you know, is like,
that's what's it. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he is seriously a caveman. And then Nora's like, oh, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. Just like in the movie, they go and they get the tanning sessions, they go on a diet. But I just think it's a really interesting little, you know, fable about tribalism.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, not so much about like, oh, coming together for Christmas. It's really about the tribalism to which this community has subscribed, and it does kind of make you examine your own, you know, how level of participation in holiday stuff, you know,
right,
and how important it is. You know, not everything is super important, but some stuff you do just for fun. But sometimes, you know, there's a lot of stuff you do because you feel like you have to.
Exactly. And at the end of the book, just like in the end of the movie, he's friendly. He has a frenemy across the street. It's Mr. Shield. And his Walter and his wife, Bev has had cancer a few times in her life. And unfortunately, cancer's come back. And it's actually, I love this ending in that he gives the trip to them and says, look, I didn't buy insurance.
Yeah.
I'll set it up for you. You could talk to my travel agent. We'll get this all set up for you guys. You're going to go on this wonderful trip. And it's like, you and I've both lost people, to cancer. And it just like the thought of being able to do that for somebody really warms my heart.
Me too. I really loved that element of it as well. It's very sweet. So it is a very heartwarming ending in the end. And I mean, it's a short read, very quick read, and fun. I really liked it. I think if you read it, read it in a book, you might. And I can see how like the reading of it aloud might, it depends. But I liked it. I thought it was great, and I thought that the characters and the neighbors too, the neighbors that are pressuring them, I thought was really, really great. I thought it made me think, and it entertained me.
Well, should we go? So speaking of that, should we go to Christmas with the Kranks? We'll play the trailer for the movie.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yes.
In this friendly little town, there lived an enchanting family named the Kranks. Every year, they would celebrate Christmas together.
Merry Christmas!
Until the year their daughter Blair left for the holidays.
This won't be the same.
Then, Luther got a brilliant idea.
We skip Christmas. We'll go bask in the Caribbean sun.
We skip Christmas? What's up? No Christmas Eve party?
Run away from Christmas, huh?
A lot of the neighbors are pretty upset.
5 months, 2 weeks, 2 days. I love the baby's been gone. If you see my baby, Frosty, Frosty.
They want Frosty?
They do not get Frosty.
Nora, stop the car. Talk to me, Nora, please.
If you see my baby, please send her home.
Hello? Mom? Dad? I changed my mind and I'm coming home for Christmas.
What?
Based on the best-selling novel Skipping Christmas.
We have only 12 hours, so we're going to perform a little Christmas miracle. I'm getting the ham. You get the tree.
Tim Allen.
Your face. It's like it's frozen.
I got a Botox injection today.
Luther?
And Jamie Lee Curtis. Christmas with the Kranks.
What are you doing, Luther? Whoa! Easy! Whoa!
So, Margo, this movie comes out in 2004. It's directed by Joe Roth. He's known for Maleficent and Snow White. Those are his most recent hits. The reason they changed this to Christmas with the Kranks is because there's a movie that came out at the same time called Surviving Christmas, starring Ben Affleck, and it came out 2 weeks before. So they had to change it, and I think that's part of my problem with Christmas with the Krank, because I think Skipping Christmas is a much better title.
Yes. Because Christmas with the Kranks is not Christmas, not having Christmas. So how is it Christmas with the Kranks? Yeah. But I also understand like that movie, other movie coming out and then being like, oh, crap.
Right. Yeah. And that Ben Affleck movie.
What are we going to do now?
They had to move it because it was supposed to come out in 2003, but he had another movie that came out. So they pushed it to this holiday season. So they had to change everything around. But they put a lot of money into it, in a $60 million budget. And we have a big, I love the cast. We have Tim Allen as Luther, Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm a big fan of Jamie Lee Curtis. Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, I love her and her vest.
Oh, she's wonderful. Dan Aykroyd's here. Emmett Walsh, Cheech Martin, Jake Busey.
Yep.
This is also, I was looking at the cast page. Sorry, it's Felicity Huffman has a role here as Mary, Carolyn Ray, and
she does.
And Tom Poston. It was his last movie he ever made. And so
I know. Tom Poston.
I know. I loved him. I loved him on Newhart. That was my favorite.
Me too.
Yeah. And so
he's way funny.
So did you see this for the first time this time?
This was my first time ever seeing this movie. I was trying to figure out why I had never seen it before, because when it came out, I had like a 1-year-old. And so, we didn't get out and see movies during that time. So that's probably why I have never seen this movie. But I've never seen it on TV. I've never seen it at all. I didn't know who else besides Jamie Lee Curtis and Tim Allen was in it until yesterday.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a very nice surprise to see Tom Post and that kid from Malcolm in the Middle being so good. Yeah, and Cheech Marin and somebody else I wanted to mention. Who's the one that plays where is he? Austin Pendleton.
Oh yeah, Austin Pendleton is Marty.
Marty.
Yeah, he's great.
Who I love.
Yeah.
It's okay. So let's begin at the beginning. It's just like in the book. They are dropping their daughter off for an undetermined period of time, at least a year. In the movie, she's going to Peru, and they're super sad. And I think they did that really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, they like them in the car after they drop her off. I think you really capture it. And just like this happens in the book too, that she calls from the plane and Luther's like, do you have any idea how much it's that happens in the book too. And that tells us a lot about Luther right there.
Well, also, so the first thing they do is they go to the store and to get, right after they drop her off the airport.
Oh, yeah, the white chocolate.
The white chocolate that she has to get for him. And it's raining outside and it's pouring on him. And they're bickering. Like, these people are just bickering with each other about a lot of things. And it's because they miss their daughter and they don't know what they're going to do with themselves. Yeah. And it's a big house that they live in and all this kind of stuff. But I liked the interaction between Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis. I thought they looked good together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially, I think, and that all is in the book, that whole thing about the white chocolate and asking the butcher about the white chocolate.
Yeah.
And it establishes, it does a lot. It tells you about their dynamic. It tells you about, like, they obviously can't talk about feelings very well. It tells you that how committed they are to the whole Christmas, their whole Christmas routine and tradition. In the book, I forget, she has to get the white chocolate because she makes like this special chocolate bark that she gives to, I can't remember if it's the people at his office or something or other that they're going to, and she always brings the white chocolate bark, and so she has to get the white chocolate, and that just sets it up right there. It tells you everything you need to know about these two people, and I thought it was very well done in the movie.
Yeah, they totally, and I like Jamie Lee Curtis cracks me up in this movie because she's really working hard in this part. Like, she is constantly like in movement. There's a lot of nervous energy.
Physical.
Very physical. She's doing more stunts than she did in Halloween. She's like, there's a whole scene where she's going to get the ham, and she's like, and it's a whole big thing. Like, she's going to get, there's that one ham left, and then she goes to the parking lot. And I crack up the parking lot scene because it reminds me of Halloween 2. Her character, Lori, was like crawling through the parking lot at the hospital that she was. I feel like that was like a little nod to that, or that's just in my head. But that's like a funny scene. And it was super funny that, Margo, that you pointed out that she was on a late night talk show with James. What's his name? Corden. Thank you.
Yeah.
And she picked out the woman she did that scene with. And she's a great memory.
And she really remembered her and remembered her first name and everything. I forgot I feel we have to mention, because they obviously went to a great deal of trouble to make sure that it was featured at the very opening of the film. Let's just have a moment to recognize the very hard work and heavy lifting that was done by Tim Allen's right bicep. What was that? What? It had like its own spotlight. It had what? Were you not distracted by that bicep? What was going on there? Really?
I didn't notice it. I'll look it up. I'll look up the images.
You didn't notice it? Oh, you have to see. It's like the opening shot of them, and they're sitting up in bed. And she's like wistfully looking out the window and like having all her feelings and not expressing them verbally, but having all her feelings looking out the window. And he's sitting next to her having his feelings, but he's wearing this t-shirt that's like pretty, it doesn't leave a lot to the imagination. And then on this one side on his right arm, it's like kind of pushed up a little bit and it's like really featuring his bicep.
Oh God. Okay. I'll look for that next time.
Yeah. I'm going to have to take a screenshot of it.
Yeah.
Just because they obviously went to a great deal of trouble to feature it. And so we should all have a moment and appreciate his right bicep. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I know I really like the way they handled the whole opening. I think it just really sets the whole thing up. And these are very affluent people. The whole community is very, very well off. I don't know what they all do for a living, but they all have giant houses and lots of money to spend $6,000 on Christmas every year. It's fun. I liked it. I liked it very much. The whole thing, the when they go to the mall and the tanning lady.
The tanning lady cracks me up. Oh my God, she's so cute. I love that she was at the party at the end. I love that they brought her back for that. But the whole tanning scene with Jamie Lee Curtis, and they're both in like Speedos and bathing suits. I mean, they also they should get a lot of credit for their middle-aged bodies, and they look great. But they're in there they look great. But it's so funny because they're doing it in the mall. And I had somebody say to me, "Is that a thing?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, malls have these things." And it doesn't.
Yes.
They do, or they did at the time. And it wouldn't surprise me if somebody just wanders in when you're in there. That would be the thing that would scare me the most. That and the skin cancer, of course. But they.
Yeah. Squiggy. Yeah. Squiggy wandered in on it.
Yes, David Landers. So Dan Aykroyd plays Vic Frohmeyer, who's the leader of the neighborhood. I mean, who's better than Dan Aykroyd and doing his Chicago accent? I mean, he's
perfect.
He's so perfect. Emmett Walsh is Walt Shield, the guy across the street, and he's always great at what he does. And you mentioned Cheech Marin and Jake Busey. They're the two cops that are in the neighborhood. And Eric Sullivan, that's Spike Frohmeyer. He's the young son. Just like in the movie, like in the book. It's like in the book and the movie. It's all the same kind of emotional beats. They're trying to get out of going to Christmas. They try to explain to people, no, we're not going to do it. And then the call comes in, and it's the daughter.
Hi. No, that was a joke. I thought that was somebody from work. Your mom's going to get on the other line, and then we both have something very fun to tell you.
Blair? Hi, Mommy.
It's Mommy! How are you? Where are you?
I'm in Miami, and I'm coming home for Christmas.
What?
Are you guys surprised?
I'm stunned!
Surprised.
We landed about an hour ago.
Oh, that's great!
What do you mean, we?
Well, I have another wonderful surprise.
Oh, yeah? What is it?
I'm with Enrique.
What's Enrique?
Enrique. Oh, he's a doctor. Well, we went to prom together. Oh, you guys met him a couple of times at my dorms and at my graduation.
Of course.
I don't remember.
He's Peruvian.
Oh, great. A communist.
Honey.
Sometimes we called him Rick.
Rick? Rick, the guy that you went down there to shack up with.
He lived in a separate hut, Dad.
Hot schmutt. I want to see some pictures to prove that.
We've been friends for years, and he's just so wonderful. We fell in love while working together, and he's asked me to marry him.
What?
And I really want to.
Oh!
Enrique has always gone home for the holidays, so he's never celebrated Christmas in America, and he's so excited. I told him all about Christmas there. The tree, the decorations, frosty up on the roof, everything. Is it snowing, Daddy? No, Enrique has never seen a white Christmas.
No, but I sense a storm coming.
Okay, when do you land? When do you get in?
Oh, we land at 8:03.
Tonight?
Yes, tonight, just in time for our big Christmas Eve party. You are having the party, aren't you, Mom?
Of course we are!
Oh, great. Oh, Mom, you are gonna love Enrique. He wants to have a house full of kids.
Oh, honey!
Oh, Mom, I can't wait to be home. Pretty neat surprise, huh?
I am speechless, and your father is probably overwhelmed.
Great. I love you, Mommy.
Oh, I love you too, honey. Say bye.
And she says, I'm coming home. And immediately Jamie Lee Curtis is like, you're getting engaged? Yay! Nobody's kind of worried, like, well, this seems kind of sudden, and we've never met this guy, and you're young.
That was the only thing in the movie that I was like, First of all, I mean, I understand. They're going through this emotional roller coaster, and they at no point are they ever able to express their emotions in any kind of verbal way.
Right.
And so, like, anytime the daughter calls, like Jamie Lee Curtis, the mom, Nora, is like way too excited.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, like, she just left, and you're just so happy to hear. She's like, "Wah!" Every time the daughter calls. And okay, like, she got engaged and everything. And in the movie, this is somebody that the daughter has had a relationship with for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So they do sort of know him, or at least know about him. In the book, this is like somebody she just met.
Yeah, it's just like
So
2
that's
weeks.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the movie, like she's like screaming and she's so excited and she's jumping up and down, Jamie Lee Curtis is. And also like when they finally arrive at the house, she's like going to explode. She's so excited. And the thing is, like, she acts like she has not seen or spoken to her daughter for 3 years.
It's been 3 weeks.
Like,
yeah.
It's been a couple of weeks.
It's not even been that long.
It has not been that long. And she's like, ah! It's like, okay.
There's a lot of like super intense beats. So there's this whole thing where they want the Frosty on the roof. They don't even care that they're going on the cruise, but everybody has to have the Frosty on the roof. So they're like surrounding the house and harassing Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's acting up a storm. I mean, there's a whole thing where she's hiding in the bed with the phone.
Really good.
Yeah. And it's just over the top, and everybody wants this Frosty. And then so Tim Allen, they decide the daughter's coming, so they have to have a party. And and in the book, I think it's better done them trying to get people to join the party. You realize,
they can't get anybody.
They can't get anyone. Yeah. Like in the movie, they wrap it up pretty quickly, and they just sort of like Vic Frohmeyer gives his speech, like she was our babysitter. We got to do this for her, and everybody participates. And I actually do. First of all, I think the boyfriend is super cute, Enrique. I think he's adorable. Yeah, he's very handsome. And I like the fact that he and Marty, who shows up and nobody knows who he is, like he says hi to everyone, like he knows them and nobody knows who Marty is. But he and Marty have an instant connection because Marty said he was in Peru for a while. And then they sing this really beautiful Peruvian Christmas song, I think it is.
Yeah.
But everybody grabs an instrument, and it's one of those movie conventions, but I kind of like it. I mean, I do like holiday movies. I'm not a total Scrooge.
It's sweet. It's very sweet.
It really is.
Yeah.
And so when they're doing that, this is when, and I really, really like this. It's well done in the movie where Tim Allen, first he goes across the street because he notices the Shields. They can't make it to the party because it was snowing, and it's probably not good for Bev to move around so much. But he goes, and first he brings the ham, and they're like, okay, thanks, that's nice. And then he realizes, like, I gotta pony up here. There's more I could do, and that's when he gives them the trip. And it's really nicely done. I mean, they did because they want to say no, but they really want to go too. And he kind of, his heart is kind of melting, and he's sort of like understanding, like being nice, how good it feels to do something like that for somebody.
Could I come in for a minute? Thanks. Blair's going to be staying with us for 10 days, so we're not taking the cruise. And Nora and I would like you guys to have it. Flight leaves at 12 noon tomorrow. You got to be there 2 hours ahead of time. It's 10 days in the Caribbean, islands and beaches. It works. It's a dream vacation.
We can't take it, Luther. It's not right.
I didn't purchase the travel insurance. So if you don't take it, the whole package is wasted.
I'm not sure my doctor would allow it.
I've got that Lexon deal on a front burner.
Well, Benny said he might stop by tomorrow.
And we couldn't leave the cat.
This is from us to you. This is a sincere, heartfelt, no-strings-attached Christmas offering to two very selfless people who are, at this moment, having a very difficult time looking for an excuse.
Benny did say he might stop by.
Face it, Bev. Benny hasn't been home in years.
Look, I've got everything right here. I've got airline tickets, I've got cruise passes, I've got a brochure.
What's it cost? If we decide to go, we want to reimburse you.
This is a simple gift, Walt. No costs, no payback. Don't make it complicated.
Our names aren't on the ticket.
I know. take care of that.
Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas. Well, I should get back to my party.
Luther, this means so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And it's really a sweet scene. And I like the fact that, like, in 2 seconds later, they're running around the house, like, packing like crazy. Like, they're just ready to go. And it's all just really, it's really sweet. I think, I found the movie much more enjoyable. But maybe it's just I didn't like the reading of the book. Maybe that was the problem for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought because the movie is super true to the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty close. You just don't get any of that interior life of Luther and Nora, but you never do in a movie. You just can't because it's a movie. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, when he falls off the roof and he's dangling by his ankle, that's all in the book.
Yep.
And the, epiphany of like, you know what am I grousing about? I have this great life and look at everything I have, and I don't need to go on this cruise, and they could really use it, and I'm going to give them this cruise. I really liked it. I thought it was very, very well done. And a very fun. I can't believe I've never seen this movie before.
I thought the party was really fun too. Like the party scene. Like I was like,
great.
I would love to be at that party. I mean, they've got good food and good music, and people seem to be really. And it's like the whole community shows up, which is really nice too. And everybody kind of pitches in together. So it just, it's a sweet little Christmas film. I think for me, it's pretty easy. I liked the movie a bit more, but once again, I
did too.
I listened to it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I did too, because I mean, Dan Aykroyd, first of all. And I just thought the casting was so great. It was just fun to see all of the secondary characters, the choices that were made, like the woman in the supermarket that's out racing her for the ham,
Dawn,
and Spike, and the cops, and they had to stop and get the perp, and I thought it was I liked that a lot about it. So no, definitely I feel like I like the movie better, but it's a very good story, and they got all the best bits and turned it into a movie. I mean, what else can you say? This is I'm stunned that I've never seen this movie before, because I can see why people love it so much.
Yeah, it's got a lot of rewatchability to it. I think it's also a couple of the people said in the Facebook group, like they like to put it on the TV when they're putting their trees together. They put the ornaments on the tree, which I think it's like a perfect background for that. And it's like, if it comes up on TV, watch it. It's really fun.
It's definitely I liked it a lot. I thought it was great. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I like it, and something that should be put into everybody's holiday rotation, I think, like so many of the other holiday movies that we've done. So yes, thumbs up for Christmas with the Kranks and Skipping Christmas. From me.
Totally.
So what is our next holiday selection?
We've got a couple of ideas here. So there's Truman Capote. And
I love that story.
I know, it's a great story. The only thing is that it's on. Well, there's two of them. It's on. It's Christmas. It's Christmas Gypsy, or it's a Christmas. I'm sorry, Gypsy is another book we want to do. There's two Christmas stories. There was he had a novella that he used to write a lot of short stories. That's how he really made his money in the early 50s. And he had a couple of them. One of them it's only on YouTube. And it's kind of hard to get. There's another one called One Christmas, and that's easier to get. And that was a TV movie from a few years ago. We could think about this more.
Oh.
And then we also have The Polar Express we've never done.
Oh.
And a lot of people like that one. And I think it's very easy to get. It's streaming everywhere. And the book is like, it's a kid's book.
I think I have it somewhere. Is that...
Tom Hanks.
Hanks?
Yep.
I don't know that I've ever seen the movie. Yeah, let's do that.
That's great.
That's an easy book for everybody.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, awesome.
All right.
Polar Express, cool.
Yeah, we'll do the Polar Express yet. We'll probably replay It's a Wonderful Life. I think they'll probably replay
Great.
that one. Yeah, we did that last year, so that'll be there. And so this will be in a couple of weeks. And you can find Book versus Movie wherever you get your podcasts. Actually, you type in Book vs. Movie Podcast in your podcast app, and be sure to subscribe. That way you'll never miss an episode. And Margo, where can they find you?
You can find me on the web at coloniabook.com. That's my blog and website, everything to do with my book. All of my social media, absolutely everywhere, is at She's Nacho Mama, SHESNACHOMAMA. And where can they find you?
You can find me on social media at Brooklyn Fit Chick. That's for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm mostly active on Twitter and Instagram, and my blog is brooklynfitchick.com. And guys, we'll be back in a couple of weeks with the Polar Express. Thank you so much for listening to the Book versus Movie podcast. We are a part of the Electronic Media Collective. We follow the hashtags Podern Family and Lady Pod Squad, and we record all of our shows on the Zoom Handy H4n, donated to us by our friend Nick at the Dependent Independent Podcast.
Santa, Macy's. Yo, man, let's go eat, man. I'm hungry.